Hello everybody. Today's video is going to be about schizophrenia and school. Um, I don't think I've really talked about this subject all that much. I know a lot of people did suggest that I do a video like this, and I think it's a good idea, mainly because school is pretty important for most people, I feel like. Um, Now, for me, um, I was never ever really good at school or anything like that. I wasn't, you know, I never had perfect grades or anything like that. And I never really cared too much about school. I went to, well, I should say, I did drop out of high school, which I dropped out at the age of 14. I'm 22 now, I think. I think I'm 22. I'm starting to forget my age a lot. I think I'm 22. 22, yeah. I did drop out at 14, so I haven't been to school in a long, long time. And for most of you, obviously, um, I did not. I stopped going to school because of mental health problems. Um, and at that age, around 14, that's when it started getting really, really bad, to where I could not control my actions, could not control my thoughts, could not control anything in my life. Pretty much, it was just a disaster. I think a lot of the time I almost got expelled. Um, a few times actually, basically due to not really caring all that much about anything. Kind of being in my own world, kind of being losing my mind pretty much. Schizophrenia is a gradual progression type illness that takes a very huge toll on yourself, your mind, and everything, and you can't really do anything about it. Um, how I was in school, um, you know, do not do what I did, right? Do not do what I did, because school is an extremely important thing. Education is an extremely important thing for most people. Um, if I look back now, I do kind of wish I did graduate, but obviously I couldn't. I couldn't go back because school for me, um, I never really. One thing I hate doing, right, is I hate doing things I don't want to do. I'm very stubborn, um, and I do wish I did go back to school and finish. Obviously I can get my GED and stuff like that, but it's not something I'm very interested in. You know, I'm not that interested in finishing school, going to school, even though I should, but it's not something I've ever been interested in. I like learning things and doing things on my own terms when I want to do them. I know I'm a very stubborn person. I lose interest extremely fast in a lot of things. Um, and with school, I lost interest every day with everything. Um, I don't know. I feel like, school isn't for everyone, right? School is not for everyone. I would say the school system is really fucked up. I do think the school system is extremely fucked up. They don't really teach you anything that's extremely important, at least until you get to college or university, depending on where you live in the world. Um, they don't teach you anything important, but it's a good thing to go to. It teaches you things, teaches you a lot of important things in life. Um, I'll talk about a little bit more about how I was in school. I started when I was around 12, I think, 12, 11 or 12. I became extremely depressed, I think. And I've never been a really depressed type person. I've never dealt with like extreme depression or anything like that. Um, my moods have always kind of been just monotone. I'm not that excitable. I'm not that sad or anything like that. I've just always been kind of monotone. But I think around that age, things started to hit me really hard. Um, just life, what's going on inside my head, um, things like that. That's extremely hard to deal with. Yeah, I started hearing voices a lot around the age of 11. Um, Commanding type voices telling me to do things, harm people, harm myself, those type of auditory hallucinations type things. Um, and it was extremely hard to deal with. It was becoming a little too overwhelming for me, and I just was in a slump. I was really depressed for a couple years, actually, I would say. Did horrible in school, didn't care at all. Um, I was just not interested in anything in life. Wouldn't say I was suicidal or anything like that. I just didn't care about anything that happened to me, um, in any regard for people. I've never been too fond of people, never been too fond of being around people, and that's kind of self-evident because I kind of am alone I've been alone for most of my life, I would say. And then when I got to high school, that was in middle school at around 11, 12 years old. So I was depressed for about 2 years, I would say, and dealing with a lot of stuff mentally, dealing with really abnormal thoughts, voices, hallucinations, couldn't focus on anything, couldn't function. Now, when I got to high school, it was really bad. I was delusional. My thoughts were crazy, very crazy. Um, and certain things I can't really get into depth with on YouTube, but um, my thought process was so fucked up that I could not be in school anymore. I would sometimes just leave school anytime I wanted. Didn't feel like being there. Didn't feel like doing anything. Um, and I I just didn't know what to do with my life. Honestly, I had no idea. Um, it was all just too much, you know. And then yeah, I got threatened a lot that they were going to expel me if I didn't do anything. And I said stuff like, I really don't care if you do. Go ahead, type stuff. It's very destructive. Um, I wasn't really that violent either. A little bit, but nothing too crazy. Um, I was just very out of it. Could not do anything, could not focus on anything. I'm kind of glad that, life, the way I see it, um, life plays out in a certain way, for a reason. There's a reason that life will turn out in certain ways. Hold on, give me a second. I do think that. Um, like everything is a simulation type thing. Life has everything. I don't know. It's so strange. Life just works out in very mysterious ways. Like decisions you make affects your decisions later in life, and it affects your life later. Wait, it affects your life later in life. That's a really weird sentence to say. And for I guess I could talk about basically underlying thing is I was horrible in school. I failed every class. Every year I failed every class. Because I didn't have the help I needed. Um, I didn't have the. I had no idea about mental health, mental illness until I actually started to go see a psychiatrist, and that kind of happened randomly. The school thought that it would be best if I got checked out. Basically, I was not very good mentally, and I think all my teachers saw that. Um, some of my old friends saw that. Um, I was not very good. I was not very healthy mentally. I basically just tried to ignore it for the longest time I could, but I really couldn't. Now, for the future, do I want to go back to school? Possibly. Um, I would like to do things I would want to do. Um, I really like space, stuff like that. That stuff is fascinating to me. It's always been fascinating to me, and I've always enjoyed it. Every time I think about it, it's very enjoyable to think about. And I would love to go to school for something to do with anything to do space related. Would not want to become an astronaut, though. I know I gotta be a little bit more specific. But no, I do not want to become an astronaut. That is not something I would want to do. Um, but yeah, little, I should give you guys suggestions on what you should do because I know a lot of people who are struggling with mental illness are in school, and they have a very difficult time. Um, Depending on what you're doing and if you love it and you really like it, keep doing it no matter what happens. Do not do what I did. Don't drop out of school. Not wise to do. Um, it's always good to get education. It's always good to, find what you love doing. That's extremely, extremely important. And I didn't find that until later in life. I didn't know about anything, didn't want to do anything until I was older. And I think it's an extremely important thing. Try to get help immediately if you can to be able to help you function as a normal person. Because I wasn't functioning until a normal or functioning until I was good, stable until I was 17, 18. And I've had the illness for most of my life. I'd probably say all of my life. And basically, just do what you love doing. Strive for it. If it's something education based, if it's something else, do it. There's no point in spending your life being miserable. No point at all. It's always good to just be as happy as you possibly can be, in whatever ways that you can. That's an extremely important thing. And learning is fascinating. Figuring out stuff is extremely fascinating also. So yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy this video. The links for all my social medias will be down in the description below. Subscribe if you want to. If you don't, I don't care. And I will see you guys later. Bye.